I've ever played in my entire life. So let's check this out. I want to talk to you guys about my experience with this game. And keep in mind, this isn't some random mobile title. This is Mario Kart we're talking about. So many people are going to play this game. And the way this game insidiously monetizes its players, it is just a thing to behold. So let's begin with what I was greeted with the second I booted up the game. This right here, immediately, the first thing the game tells you to do is to fire a pipe, or essentially to open a loot box, which looks something like this. So you pull down, and the visual and sound effects to get you all excited, it's all there. And the whole swiping down and letting the thing fly sure reminds me of doing this with a slot machine. So that was the first thing I did when I booted the game up. This was then followed up by a tutorial race, and after I finished that, I was greeted with another loot box. Hey, wow, they're really trying to get me hooked to this system, huh? I got another character. I got Princess Peach, and you can see right here she has like her own special skill. And that leads us to the main menu of the game. So right here, this guy tells me about how each tour lasts for 2 weeks. And that is an essential aspect of this monetization system, the limited nature of these items and these tours and all of these aspects that contribute to players wanting to spend money on this before it's gone, because the grind here won't allow you to obtain everything you want in time. And then after I was introduced to the time limit, I was taken to this menu where you can see all the different tours. And down here, you can see the number of grand stars needed to proceed to these different tours. And each of these tours, as you can see right here, if you complete them, you get a number of rewards. There's stuff like driver skill up, raise a high-end driver's skill level. Now, this particular item you'll see requires a gold pass subscription. That's $5 a month. And essentially, there's a lot of content in this game that's locked behind that $5 a month, behind the gold pass, from the 200cc racing mode to various rewards that you can earn as you go through these tours. And among these rewards include skill ups for drivers. And you can see right here, Toad, for example, as you boost Toad's skills, he gets different bonuses, different stats increases. So you want to increase the skills for these racers in order to just get bonuses. And the way this is set up is that only those who have the gold pass will be able to earn the more lucrative rewards by completing these tours. And then that leads us to another type of reward you can earn through the tours, Kart skill up. So different carts have their own different skills and bonuses as well, and you can level up the carts and the gliders and the racers, and all of these combine. You can also earn coins via these tours, and coins are the game's in-game currency. And while they're not technically the premium currency you can purchase directly, you can use the premium currency to engage in this mode that allows you to earn coins, dedicated to earning coins. So you can technically pay for coins. We'll get to that in a bit. Rubies. So this is the premium currency. And you can see right here, you can use these to fire off the pipe, aka open a loot box, or play Coin Rush. This is the mode that is solely dedicated to you going through a track and collecting coins. Get these from races or Coin Rush to use in the shop. And because you can use rubies to go to Coin Rush to earn coins, while there is that degree of separation, you can technically spend money on the rubies, which you can spend on getting the coins to purchase items in your item slot. So that gives you a bit of an advantage in the game. But this reward is also locked behind the gold pass. You won't be able to earn it unless you're subscribed to that $5 a month service. So from there, I went ahead and checked out the game itself. I participated in the game's first tour, the Mario Cup. And clicking on this selection will yield this menu. And this guy tells you, choose your driver, kart, and glider carefully. If you use them on a favorite course, you get an advantage during the race. So you can see right here, when the prompt goes away, there are certain characters that only get you 1 item per item box. Other characters get you 2 items per item box. And then this version of Mario gets you 3 items per item box. So the more characters you have, the more chances there are of you being able to choose a character that has an advantage in certain courses. So in this specific course, this Mario, this costumed Mario right here has the greatest advantage because you can get 3 items per item box. And so choosing a character is not just about stats and cosmetic, it's also about getting the leg up in certain courses. And so the more characters you unlock, the more chances you have of selecting a character that's ideal to a particular course. And that's why you're encouraged to open loot boxes and get as many of these characters as possible, or purchase them through coins that you can also earn through premium currency by spending premium currency. And then you can do the same with the carts. So different carts have different bonuses and different courses, and same thing with gliders. So right here. So this glider is good for this course. It gives you bonus ×2. And then if I had this glider and use that for this course, it'd get combo bonus ×3 and big combo time boost. So you want to get as much stuff as possible so you can have the greatest possible advantage in each race and the greatest possible bonuses in terms of rewards and what have you. And then after you pick your different things, it tells you right here, if you're a seasoned car driver, why not try racing at 150cc? So right here, they introduced the CCs, the fact that you can up the ante and go with a faster race mode in order to get better rewards. And this is really sly of them. So they keep it at 50cc, right? And the second you choose that selection in order to change your CC, you're introduced to the fact that you've got 150cc and then 200cc right here, which is locked behind the golden pass. So this is their way of introducing players to this locked content to incentivize them to purchase the golden pass, which is that $5 subscription. And that made me do a double take. You can see right here, I picked the 150cc and I went, wait a minute, did I just see that right? And then I went back to the menu, and right here, if I try to choose it, unlocked with a gold pass. So that's yet another layer of monetization on top of all the other crap we have seen thus far. And then that leads us to the races. And so I finished 6th or 5th in this one. Yeah, I was still getting used to the controls, and the controls in this game are pretty shaky. You use the touch controls to drift and stuff. It doesn't work nearly as well as, Mario Kart 8 on Switch and what have you. You can, I guess, kind of get used to it, but it doesn't feel particularly good to drive in this game. But the game overall isn't bad. I'd say like the core mechanics and the core game it feels just like Mario Kart. The touch controls aren't ideal, but functional enough. This game could be fun if it wasn't for the monetization focused way they kind of handle rewards and progression. So after I was shown what place I was in this race, I got some points for the character, the rider, the cart, and the glider that I used. And it says right here, the XP bar will increase depending on the CC and your race position. Once the bar fills, you will receive more position points in races. So if you choose 200cc, you'll be able to get even more points, but guess what? You have to pay $5 a month for that. And then next up, we have this part of the post-race display that shows me how many grand stars I earned. So this is what will allow me to progress through the various tours. And then after that, I am told about, let's see, you'll get grand stars based on how many points you've earned. So keep your eye on the prize and aim for a high score. And also I get some coins along the way. And as you can see, yeah, you don't get a lot of coins per race. In this first race that I did, I got 3. And I did another race right here where I leveled up as a player, and that increases the amount of position points received after races. Position points is this right here, and that adds to the total number of points that you earn, and the total number of points defines maybe how many grand stars you earn, as well as how many coins you earn. So it is definitely something tangible. It is an important stat to keep track of. And, if you choose a higher CC, you can get more position points, but that's locked away behind that subscription. And then with this right here, if I keep increasing the experience points for the items that I use, I can get more position points in races based on how high I've leveled these up. So it's all tied together. So back to the second race, I leveled up. I got extra skill or experience points for these specific items so that I could increase my position points and in turn maybe gain more stars or gain more coins. And then in this race, I earned
welcome to my
5 grand stars again, an additional 3 coins for a total of 4 instead of the additional 2 for a total of 3 last time. And so, yeah, I got a few more, but it's still very minimal. 7 total coins off of 2 races. And then this third race, I got first place again, got more points, 5 grand stars again, more position points based on, I'm assuming, the fact that I placed first and the fact that my items had greater experience points. I got 5 grand stars. And then in this race, I actually got 7 coins for a grand total of 14 now at this point by my third race. So progressing very slowly across the board. The grind is really here. And then, so this is around the time that I finish my first cup. And the first thing the game does after I clear my cup, it tells me have some rubies to celebrate. So it gives me a first batch of free rubies, the premium currency. It gives me 20 rubies that I can use to open loot boxes or to engage in coin rush to earn coins. So they're giving you a free taste so that you'll later be maybe tempted to purchase more so that you can do more in the game, progress faster, unlock stuff faster, what have you. So it says right here, you can get things like drivers and carts from the pipe. Say, why don't you use some rubies to fire something out of it? Basically saying, hey, I gave you some free rubies. Why not do some free spins of the slot machine? Why not open a few free loot boxes? And so, you know, and then the game walks you through this process. It's not optional. It tells you how to go to the menu right here. It tells you how to, it highlights, you know, the relevant portion here. You can fire off 1 loot box with 5 rubies, or if you have 45 rubies, you can fire 10 at a time. And then once I engage here, I'm taken right back to this screen, the very first thing the game greeted me with when I booted it up, and I do the same thing, spin the slot machine with my finger by pulling the lever, essentially. And you've got the sound effects, the audio effects to really hook you in, and I got a new character here. And then after I engaged in the loot box, I was introduced to the login bonus, where you can earn coins or rubies for logging in every day from September 24th all the way to October 8th. And, you know, 100 coins is, you know, certainly a decent amount, but when you look at the prices of some of the items, you'll see that it really doesn't amount to all that much. And then you can also earn 5 rubies at a time each day, so a free spin of the loot box, essentially. There's the login bonus aspect to encourage people to keep coming back, to become emotionally invested, and give them more of a, you know, a few free spins here and there, just enough to allow them to keep engaging with the game's monetization, but not so much that they'll get too far ahead, so that they can keep feeling the grind and then eventually be like, you know, I want more coins. I want more rubies than what the login bonus is giving me, what the gameplay is giving me, so I'm going to purchase them. And then it says right here, it walks me through the fact that once I get coins, I can get drivers, carts, gliders, and more from the shop. There's this segment here that reads, the daily selects change daily, but I bet you could have figured that one out on your own. So it kind of works like a lot of video game shops. It's this rotating selection of items, and that can be seen right here. So I'm not high enough level to see these, but where I am right now at level 2, I can see these, and you can see, for example, a character can cost 3,000 coins, and then a glider can cost 500 coins, and then this right here, which is this consumable item, the ticket that I showed you before that allows you to spin the item box in a race, that costs 50. So right around this time, with the login bonus and the couple races that I've done already, there are
all the time. More Joker drama going on in the news. So this time we've got some good stuff, some really good stuff. So I saw this. Todd Phillips has had some things to say. We're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about some media that's actually getting sick of the drama, which I found surprising. And we have some reports on security for the movie and what people are doing. So far, nothing's happened. Movie's been premiering, nothing's happened, but there's a response from New York. We'll take a look at that. So the biggest thing that I want to talk about is Todd Phillips having enough, pretty much extending his hand out and pushing up the middle finger towards media. I love it. I love the reaction. I love that Warner Brothers banned that they banned people from the premiere. Yeah, we don't want any of you critics here. You can come take pictures, but asking questions, nah, we're not gonna go for that. That's cool though. you're not invited, but you can watch and take pictures. That was excellent. I love that people are finally having enough of this, that they're finally saying something, that they're standing up to these crazies. But there's also some sadness in here in what he says, and we're going to talk about that as well. This comes from this piece from Vanity Fair. It's more talking about the movie and an interview with Joaquin Phoenix. Not going to go over this because, as you can see, it's quite long and extensive. It's actually a really good read, but this isn't the purpose. I want to go over comicbook.com's take because they do a salty response to what Todd says. So I want to go over this one. So we're going to skip down because the first part of it just talks about the movie and some of the problems that it's having. So we go here. It says, during a recent interview with Vanity Fair, Phillips explained that the effects of woke culture had on comedy and the genre, and it makes the genre less enjoyable and harder to create, which is absolutely true, and I 100% agree with that. Most comedies nowadays are pretty forgettable. I can't think of too many comedies that I really sit down and can remember from the past 10 years. Most of the comedies that I really liked are older. And there's a really good reason for that. It's because you can't make really good comedy anymore. You can't push boundaries. You can't be controversial, which a lot of comedy is. You know, a lot of your favorite comics, they bring up a lot of controversy. Look at Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, George Carlin, you know. These people, well, George Carlin isn't around anymore. He's my favorite comedian of all time. So I always like to include him in conversation. But these comedians, they can't do anything anymore without being scrutinized. And it's the same with movies. It's actually worse for movies because look what they do before the movie even comes out. Joker has been getting scrutinized for like at least 2 months now. We've been seeing people talk about it like it's going to turn into some world disaster or something. It's been getting hit weekly, which of course is going to drive more people to see the movie. This movie is going to be a massive success. A massive success. Even if the hype isn't real. I think the hype is real, but let's say it sucks. People are still going to go see it because of all these stupid people attacking it. They're bringing it on themselves.
Died or left me.
It's funny to see.
We stick together.
However, they still get hit.
I'm gonna kill.
And
So turning point
you can look
USA.
at Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr, like I was saying. Look at them. Look how they're getting hit on after their comedy comes out. Can't quite do that with comedy like you do to a comedy movie because people see the movie before it even comes out. And therefore they can give it review bombs and everything. By the way, I find it funny that critics are allowed to review bomb movies, and that's totally fine over on places like Rotten Tomato. But if the audience does it, guess what? That's different. We got to remove the audience scores. This is why people don't like any of you people.
Crossroads with
In
my main
journalism, Hollywood, entertainment, all that stuff. Nobody likes you anymore. It used to be different. People used to see all of you like royalty. That's not the same anymore. Anyway, let's continue on. So here's what he said. Go try to be funny nowadays with this woke culture, Phillips said. There are articles written about comedies and why they don't work anymore. I'll tell you why. Because of all the effing funny guys are like, F this S. Now, I'm not, of course, going to say those words because you instantly, well, you can sometimes say them. Guardians in the Galaxy, the wrestler, his name's not on my mind for some reason. It starts with a B. So do we live in a clown world? I think that's an appropriate question to ask nowadays as I spend a lot of time looking for stuff to talk about on the channel. I come across some random stuff that's just really just mind-boggling to me. And I've been saving them up. Figured I'd run through them in one video. And I think it highlights just how strange the world is now. This is some weird stuff. So I'm going to show you guys this. I think I'm going to do this like once a week or something. Grab up all these crazy things that I find and go over them. These are fun topics. Not something that I could really do a whole video on, but I definitely think there's enough to laugh at for a video that I could probably do once a week because these articles come out all the time. It's definitely something that we can highlight weekly. which I like to do because I think that these are fun topics. So let's go through some of the stuff I found and see just how crazy the world has become. Like this. So the dictionary, got to change it. Dictionary's got too many offensive terms in it. Too much. We've got to get rid of some of them. So there's a petition with over 30,000 signatures on it to change terms in the dictionary. So the dictionary is meant to be a reflection on English. It's words that we use. So if you're looking up the B word there, like the sign she's holding, you're going to find stuff that says in the dictionary that's also a term used in a derogatory fashion towards women. That's not a slight on women. It is a way the word is used in English, though. So it's justifiable that it's used in that context in the dictionary. But these people are saying that, you know, because it's offensive, it's got to come out of the dictionary. It's got to come out. It makes no sense. It's not in there as a slight. It's in there because it's a dictionary. But of course, deep surprise.
Boy collection video. And I wanted to come in and talk about Wonder Boy and everything Wonder Boy and my entire collection. And it's nearly 30 years ago that I first played Wonder Boy at my friend Richard's place. He's known as Swagger on the show. That's his D&D character's name. And I went over there one day, and he had a Sega Master System, and I watched him play Wonder Boy, the very first game, and I was like, oh my God. And he also had Wonder Boy in Monsterland. And all of a sudden, I was like, man, I love Sega. I think they're so amazing. I love this character. And I had to play it myself. And so eventually I got a Sega Master System. And then I got all the rest of the Genesis machines and, moving on into the future. But I want to start right at the beginning. And this is not really a series review. This is just to show bits of my collection. This is
former CIA officer on Jimmy Dore the other day. Jimmy Dore had him on his show, and then Tucker Carlson subsequently had him on his show on Tucker Carlson Tonight. And on Jimmy Dore, he talked about how the CIA doesn't know up from down, how the CIA in a lot of cases are operatives trying to undermine Trump, trying to take Trump out of office, working with the media, trying to help them, getting them to push for war by using children, as we've seen them do in the past. We've seen MSNBC praise our beautiful weapons as strikes were launched on Syria. Operation Mockingbird type media talking heads, as we know, from for the most part, from the New York Times to the Washington Post to the MSNBCs to the CNN, so on and so forth. And so this CIA officer was on Jimmy Dore, and then he goes on Tucker Carlson Tonight. So just so you know, this guy isn't like John Brennan. He's not a political hack. He's not a partisan. He doesn't even like Trump. As a matter of fact, if you watch him on Jimmy Dore, he talks about Trump, and he talks a lot about wars. He's very anti-war, and I agree with him on a lot of his takes. I don't agree with Jimmy Dore on a lot of different things, but I do agree with him on his anti-war takes. He's like a progressive, but he is a progressive, but he's not like a crazy progressive. He's been on TYT, and he left TYT because TYT was trying to push this whole Russia probe, one of the biggest hoaxes in modern history in America. And so this is the reason why, occasionally I tune into Jimmy Dore just to check out what he's saying on certain topics. And so this former CIA officer went on Tucker Carlson, and he calls on Trump to investigate the CIA and the FBI for that matter. And as a matter of fact, it appears that that is going to happen. So we're going to get into this clip here. I'm going to show you this clip from Tucker Carlson here. Before we do, I just want to remind you, check out the link in the description. Preparewithvincent.com. Preparewithvincent.com. Right now, you can get $100 off of a 4-week My Patriot Supply dry food supply, or $250 off of a 3-month emergency dry food supply from My Patriot Supply. This emergency dry food supply has a 25-year shelf life, as you can see. A 25-year shelf life. I've been stocking up on this stuff for quite some time. I have about 2 years worth. I'm trying to get to 5 years at least. I've been stocking up on this slowly. So make sure you and your family are secure today. Check the link in the description, preparewithvincent.com. You can't survive without food. So let's get into this this clip here. This is former CIA officer.
sitting president to bring him information so we can make wise, informed decisions. But in some cases, its agents and officials have played a key role, not simply in the Ukraine scandal, but in the Russia story before it. And a lot of it seems pretty political. John Kirkow is a former CIA officer, a long and storied history of that agency. He joins us tonight. So, John, it does seem like CIA, obviously not most of them, sure, but in a bunch of cases, CIA employees are acting as kind of political operatives. That's my read on it.
Oh, and it's getting worse and worse as time goes on. Just look at the whistleblower complaint, and I use the word whistleblower in quotation marks here. I made a whistleblower complaint in 1996 about an illegal campaign contribution. I wrote a memo, I sent it to the IG, he sent it to the Federal Election Commission, it was done. In this case, this went through layers of editing and coordinating, and lawyers were involved and managers were involved. It looks like a legal document. It doesn't look like a whistleblower complaint. And that leads me to believe that this whistleblower that we keep talking about is just the face of an entire group that's at the CIA that's pushing this thing forward.
Wow. I mean, you're not saying that as someone
No, I don't.
on the outside. I mean, you were there for a long time.
That's right. Now, can you imagine if Gina Haspel, the director of the CIA, learned of this whistleblower complaint from the Washington Post or the New York Times? Of course she didn't. She learned from it through the chain of command because it went all the way up to the top before it went to the office of the DNI. And one other thing to remember, these people who run the CIA, almost all of them are holdovers from the Obama administration.
Yes.
They became senior intelligence officials, SIS, senior intelligence service officers, during the Obama presidency, and they're holdovers. Now, they're there for 20, 30, 35 years, and they know that they can outweight this president.
So what advice would you give to this president as he deals with the CIA?
If I could give the president advice, I would say to turn to the Senate, turn to the Senate Majority Leader and ask for an investigation of the CIA. We need hearings on the CIA and reform in the CIA.
I would live stream those hearings, by the way. Those would be hearings that I would not miss, and I would make sure no one else misses either. Now, when he says we need to investigate the CIA...
A Carnex.com seleciona carros usados de alta qualidade. Carros recentes, perfeito. Carros com mais de 5 anos, não. Avaliados em 228 pontos, são selecionados e aprimorados para que possa desfrutar de qualquer carro, a qualquer hora, em qualquer lugar, na Carnex.com.
You gotta you gotta you gotta
CIA. We need to have hearings on the CIA. It appears that this might be happening. We see this report here from the Daily Caller come out to report AG Barr is ramping up his probe of CIA and FBI activities in 2016. We also have a couple of other articles to go over with you today. Barr Intelligence Community Management is behind the whistleblower saboteurs. This is what this former CIA officer states on Jimmy Dore. This is what this former CIA officer states on Tucker Carlson. And this reminds me a lot of what Chuck Schumer said quite some time ago. If you recall, back in 2017 in an interview with CNN, I believe, where he said that Donald Trump is messing with intelligence agencies. And if you mess with intelligence agencies, they have 6 ways from Sunday to get back at you much harder. And this is what's going on. Long gone are the days where the president's just assassinated by the CIA. Long gone are those days. Now they just use major international organizations to destroy your reputation and use their own political arm, the mainstream media arm of the CIA, of the FBI, CIA talking heads, Operation Mockingbird, talking heads to destroy you and to take you out of office. This is what's going on. Everyone knows this is what's going on with a brain in their head. And this CIA officer is risking his life, essentially, going on Tucker Carlson and Jimmy Dore to talk about this. Once again, this is not a partisan. This guy doesn't like President Trump, but he's calling on President Trump to investigate the CIA because he knows that Tucker Carlson is the most watched show in cable news and the most watched show by President Trump based on evidence that we have seen. Also, I will say this. that while he is right in that a lot of these are Obama holdovers, a lot of these CIA agents, FBI agents, so on and so forth, they're Obama holdovers. They're trying to undermine Trump. They're trying to get him taken out of office, so on and so forth. I do agree with that. But a lot of the turmoil coming out of the Trump administration that we have seen with people turning on him, turncoats in the Trump administration, can really be blamed on President Trump's hiring practices. For instance, the National Security Advisor, Tucker Carlson, myself, hundreds of other people were calling on President Trump to replace John Bolton, after John Bolton's ouster, with Douglas McGregor. Really the only guy that's loyal to Trump, has been loyal to Trump, and will move forward with Trump's agenda, the America First agenda. He was the perfect candidate for National Security Advisor to replace John Bolton. What did Trump do? After all the talks of draining the swamp, I'm going to drain the swamp, I'm going to drain the swamp, he hires swamp creatures and then replaces them with additional swamp creatures. John Bolton is the swamp. Mike Pompeo is the swamp. Nikki Haley is the swamp. These people are swamp creatures. And then they're replaced, when they're fired, eventually, with other swamp creatures. Who did Donald Trump pick to replace John Bolton? A guy who worked for John Bolton. A guy who vocally praised John Bolton in a video with Larry King tonight. He said, I want John Bolton to be the Secretary of State. I love John Bolton. He's a perfect candidate. This is what this guy O'Brien said about John Bolton. Twitter to suspend Donald Trump's Twitter account forever because the things that he is tweeting, she doesn't agree with. She says, this is what she claims on CNN, of course, Anderson Cooper. She says that Donald Trump has lost his privilege to speak on Twitter because the things that he is saying could put people in harm. And this is why Twitter needs to suspend his account forever. We're going to get into this story. We also have the clip here to show you of Kamala Harris. We're going to respond to that clip. We're also going to, as I said, Smollett hoax, right? Or as they always say, right? I hate that term. It's a ridiculous term. But this is the term that they use. Now, that particular category is going to be the coming majority of the United States of America, according to the Brookings Institute, according to the Census Bureau, according to all data that we have on this, right? And that particular category, if you look at statistics coming out of Cato Institute and Pew Research, you can see that almost 3/4 of the coming majority of the country believe that hate speech is violence, just as Kamala Harris was talking about here. You can also see, based on this graph here from the same research organizations, that a majority of the coming majority of the country believe that the government should criminalize hate speech. So not only should you be banned from Twitter, but you should be arrested. And this goes back to the story I was just going to mention. Is that in New York, they are banning using the phrase illegal alien. You can either be fined $250,000 or arrested for using the phrase illegal alien in the city of New York. And so that's Kamala Harris. That's what New York City is doing here. It goes on. It says, Trump has turned his Twitter wrath on the unnamed whistleblower, whose complaint led to a formal impeachment inquiry into the president. And he has a record of the administration. Yeah, he's taken out.
Is right around the corner. And of course, we got to talk about video game news because a lot of stuff has been happening recently that I definitely want to talk about. To start things off, we're going to talk about Sony because there's some major shakeups going on at Sony right now that involve the future of the company and the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. And then we got to talk about Nintendo because Nintendo kind of lied and it kind of feels a bit deceptive and it kind of feels a bit scummy about this situation. So what's going on with Sony? What are these major changes and what did Nintendo actually lie about? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about what's going on in the world of video game news. So first off, let's kick things off and talk about Sony, because there's some major shakeups going on at Sony, and honestly, I'm a bit confused by all this. Now, when you think of video game companies, there's usually a figurehead that you assimilate with that company. For many years with Nintendo, of course, it was Reggie Fils-Aimé. Reggie Fils-Aimé recently left Nintendo, putting Doug Bowser in charge, so now we're starting to shift to the Doug Bowser era of Nintendo, and starting to think of him when we think of Nintendo. When it comes
comes to Microsoft and the Xbox brand, you think of Phil Spencer, the good old snake oil salesman. I'm still not really sold on Phil Spencer, but of course he is sort of the face of the Microsoft brand and of course the face of the Xbox brand. And for many years, Sony also had that figurehead. It was Sean Layden. You might remember at subsequent E3s that we've seen over the years, Sean Layden was always out there talking about the latest and greatest with coming to PlayStation. When we had the last Game Awards, we of course had Sean Layden, Phil Spencer, and Reggie Fils-Aimé all on stage together, all the figureheads of these companies, and it was a very big moment for video games and video game history. Well, of course, since the Game Awards, like I said, Reggie Fils-Aimé has left Nintendo, but when Reggie Fils-Aimé left Nintendo, it was a big to-do. There was big Twitter posts, there was videos about it, people were talking about it. Of course, Reggie gave his 2 cents on the situation. It really felt like something big was happening. And now Sean Layden has left Sony, but it's definitely a very different fanfare than what happened with, of course, Reggie leaving Nintendo. And it's got a lot of people questioning what is actually going on in this situation. So last night, the official PlayStation Twitter account put out a tweet saying that Sean Layden was no longer a part of Sony. The tweet says the following: "It is with great emotion that we announce that Worldwide Studios chairman Sean Layden will be departing SIE. His visionary leadership will be greatly missed. We wish him success in future endeavors and are deeply grateful for his years of service. Thanks for everything, Sean." Now, when you first look at this tweet, probably nothing really sticks out to you, but something definitely stuck out to me in this tweet is the fact that they did not even tag Sean Layden in this tweet. Sean Layden obviously has a Twitter. He's pretty active on Twitter. And when you go to Sean Layden's Twitter account, there's no sort of that we might find about in the weeks to come, but yet improvements is in the price point and now has a much lower price point. Now, if you've got place,
Rise and shine. It's magic time. Now it's time for you.
PlayStation now, it used to be $20 a month or $100 a year in the United States. Well, they've improved the price point, and now it is only $10 a month if you go on a month-to-month subscription service, or $59.99, $60 a year. So that's definitely a big improvement on the price of this. And they're also adding in new content to make it more attractive to people wanting to check out PlayStation now. There's now going to be something called marquee games. Now, these games will be available in a timed window where you can download these games and play these games on either your PS4 or your PC. Now, the first batch of marquee games includes the following. You have Grand Theft Auto 5, you have Infamous Second Son, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and God of War. Yes, the God of War that sold very, very well on the PlayStation 4. One of the best games, arguably, of all time. A fantastic game that I absolutely love is now going to be available on PlayStation Now. Like I said, these are the marquee games. Now, these games will be available from October 1st, 2019 till January 2nd, 2020. So you have a pretty long window to actually play these games, and then they will be siphoned out for different marquee games. Now, like I said, these won't impact the games that you regularly get on PlayStation Now. They will still be adding in games regularly. These are just supplemental games. And losing money, something that has been forgotten about, and it's something setting up the system. But yeah, other than that, it's just stability stuff. So if you're looking for a very stable operating system, Nintendo Switch firmware 9.0.1 definitely has you covered. Mitch, people have been asking about you. What do you think about the firmware update? Thank you, Mitch. Thank you. And finally, Nintendo is a company that I obviously enjoy. I cover a lot of Nintendo stuff on this channel. But when a company lies about something, you got to call them out. And the first instance that I want to talk about maybe isn't necessarily a lie, but it's something that has been forgotten about. And it's something that definitely needs to be addressed. The second instance, though, it's definitely a lie. And some Switch owners are definitely upset by this. So the first instance, let's talk about Super Mario Maker 2. Now, Super Mario Maker 2, of course, came out at the tail end of June. We talked about it on the channel. Radio, in order to play online, that said the following. Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, is available now. In Marvel Knights, Curse of the Vampire, take on a new story scenario and battle as Punisher, Blade, Moon Knight, or Morbius. Or try new challenges in the Gauntlet mode, #MUA3. Now, upon first glance, everything seems fine with this tweet. You know, they're basically saying what's going to be included, but people that are actually downloading this DLC pack are quickly realizing something. There's no additional story content. When you think of additional story content, you would think of new content included in the game, actual story elements that play into the story part of the game. But people are quickly finding out that these are just added things into the Gauntlet missions. You're still going into the same areas. Sure, some of the
Alguns factos que a esquerda em Portugal não quer que os portugueses saibam. Primeiro, ambiente e impostos. Ambiente, impostos, demografia. Primeiro, ambiente, impostos, demografia e taxa de fertilidade em Portugal. Isto é a taxa de IVA nos diferentes países. Os principais 95% do lixo de plásticos no mundo são destes rios, nenhum deles da Europa ou do Japão ou da América, diga-se de passagem. E os restantes 5%, a maioria dos 5% do lixo também vem de África e Ásia. A maioria dos restantes 5% vêm de Ásia. A taxa de natalidade de Portugal é muito baixa. O país com a taxa de natalidade mais baixa, Suécia, onde vem aquela Greta qualquer coisa, é muito mais alta que Portugal. Impostos nos ordenados depois de... Portugal é um dos que tem mais alto. Japão. Não vejo nenhum país de pretos a pagar impostos sobre o ordenado. E nós é que depois é que poluímos. Mais informação sobre a taxa de natalidade, que posso ver. Países, digamos, de população subsaariana são os países com maior taxa de natalidade. Enquanto que Portugal e os países... Reparem como aqui está o mundo. Repara como eles estão muito acima do mundo. Reparem que os países de raça negra concentram-se todos aqui, enquanto que os países europeus concentram-se todos aqui. Outra vez, Portugal. Reparem como concentra-se todas aqui. Quando os países europeus e concentram-se aqui. Enquanto que os países pretos concentram-se todos aqui, assim, nesta área. E depois nós é que poluímos, não é? A questão. Os pretos concentram-se todos aqui. O mundo. E depois... E eles concentram-se todos aqui. Enquanto que os europeus, incluindo Portugal. Portugal. São países em que ainda se caga no chão, não se faz cocô no chão, onde se defeca. Portugal e a Europa. Portugal está relativamente bem. Se forem aqui, zoom. Portugal está ligeiramente melhor que Marrocos e só ligeiramente pior que os países coisas. Agora vamos ver aqui os outros países que poluem imenso. Vamos aqui ver outra vez. Portugal está até ligeiramente mais claro do que Portugal. Polui menos que Marrocos. Só o único país que polui menos que Portugal são estes países da Escandinávia e a Irlanda. Portugal, Espanha, França, Inglaterra estão empatados com os Estados Unidos da América. Brasil polui tanto. Brasil está empatado com como é que se chama? Com Marrocos. Países mais poluentes é a Índia, a Arábia Saudita. Os países que agora não estou me lembrando bem qual é, acho que é o Gan. Irlanda está empatada com Irlanda está empatada com os países da Escandinávia, com a Suécia e China. E China, Índia. e a Arábia Saudita e estes dois países aqui da África, agora são tantos que acabam por ser são os mais poluentes. Continuando. Okay. Outra vez aquela tal questão dos rios. A Europa é onde se polui menos, depois é os Estados Unidos da América, depois é os outros, Índia e China. Esperança média de vida. Reparem que na taxa de fertilidade, os países estavam um bocadinho mais espalhados, enquanto que na taxa de mortalidade está tudo junto, mais ou menos, está tudo bastante concentrado na esperança média do mundo. Quer dizer que há um menor desvio padrão. Se repararem aqui. Mundo. Vocês veem que existe uma diferença. Há aqui um bocadinho mais concentrado do que aqui, mas de qualquer maneira há menos dispersão do que havia, por exemplo, aqui. Estão a ver? Havia esses países aqui, ou então se eu. Deixa-me ver. Estão a ver? Ou. A ver como aqui há maior dispersão, há este espaço todo sem nada. Há maior dispersão. O que há, por exemplo, na esperança média do em tudo concentra-se ali naquela área. Agora vamos a outros dados. Portugal e os portugueses são os que pagam mais impostos. E estes gráficos e estes factos que eu vou mostrar agora mostram que Portugal e os portugueses são os que pagam mais impostos, mas não são os que ganham mais. Taxa de IVA em Portugal. Sim, Dinamarca e a Roménia e a Hungria têm maior, mas em geral Portugal é um dos países que tem mais. Impostos no combustível. Reparem, o ISP é praticamente o preço todo da gasolina. Até o IVA é pouquinho, quando comparado com o ISP. Olha. Aqui. 44 na gasolina, 36 no gasóleo. Uma parte da gasolina, se nós contarmos daqui aqui como sendo exclusivamente culpa do Estado, o IVA é muito, mas não é nada quando comparado com o ISP. Quer ver que se nós acabarmos com o ISP, o IVA ainda é bastante, mas a gasolina fica muito mais barata. Impostos ao ordenado aplicados ao ordenado. Estranhamente não vejo nenhum país de pretos. E ainda dizem que eles é que são escravos. Nós é que somos. Isto é quase Polónia é-lhes retirado do seu diretamente do seu trabalho, por exemplo, no caso da Polónia, no caso de Portugal ainda mais, no caso de Portugal e no caso da Polónia é retirado mais do que era retirado, e Islândia é retirado mais do que era retirado aos escravos na América, quando feitas as contas, é retirado diretamente do seu trabalho. E não estou a ser racista, isto é um facto, podem ver as contas. Eu já venho. Vou só fazer uma coisa e vamos a seguir falar de factos acerca de criminalidade, a relação entre criminalidade e demografia.
Portanto, enquanto nós não votarmos, nós não contamos aqui. Então, vamos participar. Vamos participar. E eu, no momento em que eu sentir medo da polícia, eu estou a sentir medo do Estado. No momento em que eu sentir medo de entrar na segurança social, muito ansiosa, porque serei provavelmente humilhada, eu estou a sentir medo de ser humilhada pelo Estado. Nós estamos a falar do Estado sempre, a cada hora.
Europe, it's not white. Europe, it's not a white man also. And also, it's important, and I'm a stutter. There, it's very important to understand that equality, it's not enough. We need social justice in Europe. Thank you.
O que nós também defendemos, acertadamente, é o direito à nacionalidade a quem nasce em Portugal. É um direito humano alguém ser reconhecido do país onde ele nasceu. É inaceitável que haja milhares de pessoas nascidas em Portugal que, na hora de renovar a sua documentação oficial, lhes seja exigido registro criminal do país de origem. Se este é o seu país de origem, e se às vezes nunca estiveram mais nenhum outro. Mas são oficialmente de origem cabo-verdiana, angolana, moçambicana, etc.
Muito bem. Joacina Catar Moreira, do LIVRE, também a mesma pergunta.
Eu iria já iniciar por felicitar a RTP.
Muito obrigada.
Como sabem, Portugal deve ser invadido. Portugal e a Europa, Portugal em particular, a mim dessa maneira é Portugal. Não foi só com os outros países europeus, mas Portugal é o meu país e é o país que eu tenho a obrigação de estar mais preocupado. Está a ser invadido por pretos, pessoas do Sub-Saara África. Esta gaja quer tirar o poder de volta aos portugueses. Já várias vezes disse isso. Só um bocadinho. Quem vai? Desculpa, o meu gato catou com a minha mãe. Acontece às vezes essas coisas. Na brincadeira. Como vocês viram aquele vídeo dessa preta aqui a falar, ela quer tirar o direito aos portugueses de votar e os pretos tiraram-nos já o direito de possuir armas. Vamos ver aqui este gráfico. Fazendo conta que os Estados Unidos da América dos pretos e os Estados Unidos da América dos brancos, os Estados Unidos da América dos mexicanos e assim, são 3 países separados, e comparando depois com outros países, vamos ver como é que seria crimes por per capita, ou por outras palavras, por 100 mil pessoas. E reparem que a América dos pretos fica no topo, depois tem a América hispânica dos mexicanos e guatemalos e brasileiros, depois é a Finlândia, depois é a Austrália, França, Canadá, Quebec. Só depois é que é os Estados Unidos da América dos brancos, dos de descendência europeia. Olhem bem para este gráfico. É algo que a esquerda não vos quer mostrar. Imaginem que a América dos brancos, a América dos mexicanos, aquela coisa toda, e a América dos brancos, de descendência europeia, fosse separada, fosse dividida em 3 Américas, e depois comparando com vários países do mundo, e o gráfico fica assim. E podem dizer, mas se nós pegássemos em França e dividíssemos também na França dos brancos e na França dos franceses que são de descendência, dos franceses, não são franceses, mas das pessoas que vivem em França de descendência mexicana, e os franceses, e os senegaleses, aquela coisa toda, a França também já só ficava, França dos brancos ficava abaixo, talvez, não sei, mas isso só vem salientar mais o que eu quero dizer. E repara, França, Áustria e Áustria, o Quebec e Finlândia, não sei, e o Canadá, sei que as regras são mais ou menos as mesmas da América, mas França e Áustria têm leis de armas mais restritas do que os portugueses, bem mais restritas. E estão aqui as fotografias de todos. A fotografia de todos os mass shootings em 2009 em 2019, não é? Neste ano, na América. E acho que há aqui um padrão qualquer, não tenho a certeza. Reparem como há muito mais preto. Olha, preto, 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 preto. Branco, preto, preto. Vamos fazer conta que é branco. Preto. Então, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13. Ok, não vamos contar este. 13, 14, 15. Este não dá para muito bem. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 34. Este não sei, este também não sei. 35, 36, 37, 38, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 63. Depois vocês vejam os outros que não e cheguem às vossas conclusões. E houve alguns que eu não tinha certeza de que a categoria era e não contei. Este acho que não contei porque não tinha certeza e este, na altura, a primeira vez que olhei parecia-me que era branco. Isso. E depois dizem que a culpa é das armas e que nós não podemos ter cada português ter uma sua própria arma e, não é? E fazer e proteger-se e se defender-se contra, somente quando cada vez é mais importante se defender. Olhem bem para esta imagem. Isto é desta semana, que hoje ainda é só terça, de pessoas por crimes graves em França. Em França. Crimes graves em França. Parece haver um padrão, mas não sei qual é. Não se esqueçam, nós estamos hoje em terça-feira, a semana mal começou. Olha estes lames enormes. Pronto. E era tudo por hoje. São os factos que a esquerda precisa que vocês não saibam. Já agora, aqui mais uma imagem interessante. Aqui mais duas imagens interessantes. Que é esta. Mais algumas imagens interessantes que eu quero mostrar. É esta. Ele era judeu. Ele era e é judeu, mas também foi nazi. Ele inclusivamente vendeu a informação de onde é que estavam os pais aos nazis antes de se tornar nazi. E sim, existem judeus nazis. Normalmente costumava, quando o pai não era judeu e a mãe era judia, que nas regras do judaísmo, se nem for judia, e mesmo que o pai não seja, a criança nasce judia. Mas nas regras dos nazis é exatamente o contrário.
Monster Madness, but first, thanks to our sponsor, the Kraken Black Spiced Rum. Just in time for Halloween, the Kraken Limited Edition Black Roast Coffee Rum. This rum comes in a satanic...
Os brancos ficavam abaixo.
.6 proof. It crawled out of the depths of hell into your glass. It's unexpectedly rich, potent, and smooth. Try this new legend for a limited time because once it vanishes, it may never return. Available now, US only. Release the Kraken! So you might have noticed I covered the Evil Dead franchise briefly during the first Monster Madness way back in 2007. And now we're going to revisit some of these topics. Not all, there's going to be a lot of new ones as well. So the only feasible way I saw to bring back Monster Madness this year was to do it unscripted, rental review style, and just lock ourselves in the dungeon with all these movies.
Wait, we're locked in?
Yeah. So you're still going to get James and Mike Mondays, rental reviews on Fridays, an Angry Nerd episode, and all the remaining days, you'll get one of these type of videos. So it's a video every day in October, because that's how we do it.
Sounds great.
All right, so Evil Dead.
Evil Dead is a franchise.
Yeah, so we're briefly going to go over the trilogy as well as the TV series.
We leaving out the remake?
Oh, I forgot about that. I honestly forgot about it. Nobody wanted a remake. Nobody wanted it.
A lot has happened with Evil Dead since you reviewed it. There's been a ton of comics, there's video games, the remake. I feel like the early 2000s, Evil Dead had this like revival. And it really just built up, and then eventually the TV show. But yeah, let's revisit Evil Dead.
Evil Dead? What's so evil about being dead? I'm dead, and I'm great. So what makes this trilogy special is and as well as the series, the TV show, is that its ability to balance humor, horror, atmosphere, innovative special effects, and creative camera work.
Yes.
Plus, it's a product of young filmmakers such as the Raimi brothers and Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
So it's kind of like one of those how do I say, those like feel-good stories about young filmmakers getting together and make a movie. You know,
it led to many things. It led to the Spider-Man movies getting made.
Yeah.
It led to Hercules and Xena getting made, which is what got me into Evil Dead, because it was that same kind of humor, just more violent. But no, I love Evil Dead. I discovered it in the early 2000s. I actually have my DVD here. I got it signed by everyone in the cast in 2004 at Monster Mania, and then just 2 years ago, I finally got Bruce Campbell. I left the middle space for.
Turning Point USA, an organization that says that they're pro-free speech, an organization that claims to be fighting for the deplatformed conservatives online, of course, only if those conservatives are approved by the mega donors, has fired someone for speaking in a conversation and debate with people that they view as not approved by their mega Koch brothers donors. And that comes only after pressure from a far left media organization who is quite literally funded by George Soros. And I'm not just saying that as a cliche. Oh, they're funded by George Soros. George Soros is paying their checks, writing their checks. No, Right Wing Watch, who pressured Turning Point USA after this event occurred, is quite literally funded by the Open Society Foundation. The money is funneled through People for the American Way. People for the American Way gets checks from the Open Society Foundation. This is documented in the 2016 tax return of the Open Society Foundation, as well as 2017, as well as 2018. And so this organization who pressured Turning Point USA on this event, and then subsequently Turning Point USA fired this woman, is funded by George Soros. We're going to get into this story. We also want to talk about the Conservatism Inc. Okay, we're going to talk about Conservative Inc. and how they fail all the time, and why we must rid ourselves of Conservative Inc. and actually only support true conservatives, true people who are pro-free speech, people who are open to free speech absolutism, right? The First Amendment of the United States, and who aren't supporting countries when it goes against America's interests because their mega donors, their Koch brother mega donors, say that they need to support, these various countries. We're going to get into all of that. Before we do, check the link in the description. Go to preparewithvincent.com. Preparewithvincent.com. You can right now get $100 off of a 4-week emergency dry food supply for My Patriot Supply, or $250 off of a 3-month emergency dry food supply for My Patriot Supply. This dry food supply has a 25-year shelf life. A 25-year shelf life, and it's a good idea to stock up on food because you can't survive without it. I have about 2 years worth now. I've been stocking up for quite some time, little by little, and it is the best tasting dry food supply that I have. The best tasting dry food supply around. I've tasted them all pretty much for the most part. So check the link in the description, preparewithvincent.com. It helps the channel out a lot and secure the future for you and your family today. So let's get into the story here, and I'm not going to go to the Right Wing Watch article that this is quoting because I refuse to give them any reads, to give them any money, basically, is what it comes down to for their ads that they have on their website. But here we go. This is so this is a post here. It says, Turning Point USA has fired Ashley St. Clair. Sadly, I regret to inform you that Ashley St. Clair, a.k.a. Sex Laptop, of Turning Point USA has been fired after being caught associating with Nicholas J. Fuentes. And this is his tweet here, putting Ashley St. Clair in a headlock, obviously jokingly. Nick Fuentes got her respectability card revoked by Conservatism Inc. And this is from Right Wing Watch. This is the organization, the far-left organization that pressured Turning Point USA. And then subsequently they fired her. Ashley St. Clair, a pro-Trump social media personality affiliated with the conservative youth organization Turning Point USA, was photographed at a dinner with quote, white nationalist and anti-Semitic content creators over the weekend. When Right Wing Watch inquired TPUSA about the photographs on Monday morning, a TPUSA spokesperson confirmed that staff had been alerted to the photographs and later provided a statement announcing that TPUSA had severed ties with St. Clair. TPUSA is a large national organization that touches hundreds of thousands of people across the nation. Ashley is no longer one of our thousands of volunteer activists and ambassadors. Charlie Kirk and TPUSA have repeatedly and publicly denounced white nationalism as abhorrent and un-American, and will continue to do so. The spokesperson said in an emailed statement, adding that St. Clair was not representing TPUSA when she was photographed. Now, I think that the majority of the USA
presents Sega Master System, a visual compendium. Guys, would you look at this? Firstly, a big apology goes out to Bitmap Books themselves. It's taken me way longer than expected to get this review out, which means, yes, they did send it to me for free, and yes, it's not going to tarnish my opinion. Yeah, anyway, all of that out of the way, let's actually look at what is on offer here. In case you don't know, this originally started off as a Kickstarter, and a very successful one at that. It's the 6th book in the company's Compendium series, the second one that I own, and nothing against the Commodore Amiga or anything, but yeah, this is the one that's right up my street. We'll get to the quality and all of that jazz in a little bit, but right now, let's talk about the importance of this bad boy. You see, as the back of the book states, the original system, the Mark III, was released in 1985 in direct competition to the Famicom. Again, I'm not taking away anything from the Famicom either, aka the NES. Hey, I love doing that. But come on, guys, even though to most of the world the Mark III, aka the Master System, may seem like the underdog for us British, or in fact us European folk, it wasn't. For us, the direct competition was actually the home computer market. But hey, that's a story for another time. What I'm getting at is that it's super important to celebrate this incredible era in gaming. The first steps to the true console wars that we all know, and in fact, the legendary Mark Cerny in pixel perfect quality. And you find yourself reading through several pages of information showing Genesis does era. This is the rivalry that honestly doesn't get talked about too often. This game, very, very. Early on my Kamada, I said it in my last book review way back when.
Sim. Deve estar ligado outra vez à impressora. Vai mexer no coisa. Não, isso não pode ser. Estou a ver. Liga e volta a ligar.
Desliguei várias vezes.
Mas tenta mais uma vez.
Tiago, estou até agora. Vê se é alguma coisa.
Não, aqui não é, bem. Aqui não é. Eu estou perfeitamente normal.
Pois, mas não estarás a roubar demais.
Não, isso não funciona assim, ó, bem. Não é roubar demais. Não há roubar. Não há.
Qualquer coisa que não está bem.
Pode ser o Wi-Fi do teu computador, pode estar estragado já. Pode estar estragado. Ele estraga-se.
This is not a complete collection because there's so many games to own, and some of them are ridiculously expensive. So I'll just show what I own. And let's go back. As I say, nearly 30 years ago, 1989, I went to my friend Richard's place. We played this one. Here it is, Wonder Boy. And I absolutely marveled at this game. It's kind of a side view action game. It can become a little bit frustrating at times, but I was like, oh my God. I like the pastel-y, beautiful graphics of it. I thought it was really something to behold. And it was an action game. Where this game, you collected money, time with the Wonder Boy series back then. And I thought it was amazing. And then I had some friends down the streets, and they had just gotten this game. And this game blew my mind. And you can see that over the years, they came back to revisit this game in particular. And this is Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. How about this? This is a really great game. As many of you have experienced it now, but back then, it was kind of like a Metroidvania style of game. I have this game signed as well. And I want to show this. This is another version of the Dragon's Trap entitled The Dragon's Curse. This was released on the TurboGrafx 16 as a turbo chip game. Now, there was another game that came out, and this was a very strange game because it was an action arcade game. And it was called Wonder Boy 3 Monster Lair. And here's the PC Engine version of it. And you just did side view levels over and over and over again. And it was just a shooter style of game. It's a Wonder Boy shooter, if you want to call it that. And here's the, this is horrible. It's a horrible copy. Here's my Mega Drive version of the game. And it's really, really beaten up. Oof, geez, not looking so hot there. But one of the first reviews I did on YouTube was an entire Wonder Boy series review where I talked about the entire series. I really wish I could redo that now. Maybe one day I might. Okay, now we get into the Mega Drive, and we just had the Mega Drive version of Monster Boy 3 here, Wonder Boy 3 here, and I wanted to add in this game, I had to dig it off the shelf. This is Wonder Boy in the Monster World. This was released on the Genesis. It has much more improved graphics, and I have something else. An action RPG. I love this game. I think it's really good. Oh my God, is it hard though? It's a really tough, very tough game. Now, something that was released that was really cool on the PlayStation 2 is part of the Sega Ages series, and it is the Monster World Complete Collection. This is all of the Wonder Boy games, all in one. And I had to get this game, and I was so thrilled to get it, just to have all of the games in one collection. And I'll just show that again. The world, love the sound, just because I want it sealed. I go, that's really neat. I got this at one of our local Chinese malls here in Vancouver. Oh, it must be about I'll get into some interesting. Even I can't keep up with all the different versions. Crazy, right? So there's those versions, and then there was the Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap Special Edition right here. This is from Limited Run and Lizard Cube and .emu. Unboxing of this on a. Oh, look at this! Right on the back. It says, "Thanks, John. Have fun." From Ben. And Omar, the guys who worked on the remaster of the Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap. I didn't even know it was signed. I took everything out, and I'm like, oh my God, they signed it. I was so thrilled for that. So need to get the remaster signed by the guys who worked on it. Really neat. Now we get into some more. The next return of Wonder Boy, or now he's known as Monster Boy. We got some pins here. Just going to show some of them, some of the characters. But it was also impressions, and I love them. Here's the crazy thing, folks. I don't think many people have seen this. I haven't shown this. The entire development team came realistically, and they got it so right. And so look at this, a collector's edition for it. So I was like, well, there's no way that I'm not getting this game. This is strictly limited as well. There's a couple of companies now. There's Limited Run, Strictly Limited. So, and still getting games all these years later. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that the Wonder Boy
channel here. I think that 2 videos a day is probably the most I should do. I uploaded a bunch of videos yesterday, and like 300 people unsubscribed. Too many videos. I'm also kind of thinking, normally I was going to put topics like this on Midwestly, but sometimes when they're a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, or it relates to YouTube, I want to put it on my main. Maybe I just need to have the quartering as my main and Midwestly as my spillover, and not actually quantify which or qualify which content goes where. Also, I'm looking for overlays for both channels, Midwestly and the quartering. If you're a graphic designer, I need one for this and then one for my vlog look, just like this. Obviously, I'll pay you. The quartering at gmail.com. Please email me, graphic designers. Now, Becca Lewis is the person you probably don't know, but the person behind one of the most ridiculous articles about YouTubers a while ago, ultimately calling Tim Pool right wing, and that he was at the center of some, thing radicalizing viewers to the horrible views. Tim Pool is a leftist. He's dang close to a socialist. Him and I probably don't agree on literally anything politically, but I respect his work. I respect his grind. I respect what he's built. And therefore,